With that iconic opening theme, I welcome you to the final entry in our music history sequence, Music in Historical Context 2. If you did your first year here at PLU, you started with a course in your first fall that included a survey of the sweep of Western music, as well as some music from other cultures. Last semester, most of you probably took Dr. Taylor's class about the first millennium or so of Western music. I don't, of course, mean cowboy music or country Western. By Western music we mean, basically, music from Europe, and what grew out of it in the Americas during the 19th and 20th centuries. Of course, we can't talk about music of the Americas without acknowledging and exploring the profound influence of non-Western musics on the arc of Western musical history. In this century, we are living in a global society, and the lines between Western music and music from other cultures are more and more permeable and less well-defined. That's inevitable. The march of history is a march toward globalization and a truly human musical culture. Yet that march has, and is still, often met with tremendous resistance based on race, gender, ethnic identity, religion, anything that can be seen as separating one from the other. I'm a product of the baby boom generation. I was born before the historic civil rights legislation of the mid-1960s. It was an even longer time before the advent of the feminist movement, and the attitudes toward LGBTQ community would not begin to evolve significantly until even later. Thankfully, I was young enough during most of those changes that those movements have helped form my attitudes and social commitments. Nevertheless, I am increasingly anachronistic, and I certainly carry implicit biases that were burned into my psyche as a child. But it also means that I have been a witness to the history of the struggles that have helped us to become better and more tolerant. As slow as that progress has seemed, our recognition of the importance of culturally diverse voices in the arts has been even slower in some respects. Those voices are heard because they tend to be powerful, but we are slow to recognize how significant they are, and so we keep talking about Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. You won't hear me argue that Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms were not important in the history of human culture, not to mention Western culture. They are each singularly important, especially Beethoven. But they aren't the whole story. So we're going to try to work beyond that implicit curricular bias this semester in our discussions. First, let's take a moment to acknowledge those who came before us in this place. We are on the traditional lands of the Nisqually, Puyallup, Squaxin Island, and Steilacoom peoples. We acknowledge and respect them as the traditional caretakers of this land, and their continuing importance in this place as advocates for environmental and social justice. Please don't let this be the last time you read or think about this acknowledgement in the spring of 2023. It is only a gesture, but it's an important one. And in some ways, we'll be making similar acknowledgments about our musical heritage throughout the semester. Now on to the business of the syllabus. We are still living through a pandemic, but a high rate of vaccination and careful management policies have allowed us to return more and more to something approaching normal campus life. Nevertheless, care for our community, a central component of the PLU mission, demands that we do everything we can to look out for our mutual welfare. That means that you should only be in class if you are healthy. We are beginning to reincorporate attendance into our grading policies, especially for the ensembles. However, in this class, attendance will be noted but not tracked as a grading criterion. As a student, your number one job is to engage wholeheartedly in the learning opportunities that you have come here to find. However, If illness or caregiving responsibilities prevent you from being in class, you will not be penalized for it. You will, however, need to find a way to keep up with the work, the assignments, the discussions, etc. There should be sufficient opportunity for you to accomplish the learning objectives of this course provided in the asynchronous material and activities. If outside responsibilities make even that impossible for you, then we need to talk about alternative plans. If you find that you are falling behind for these reasons, come talk to me about it sooner rather than later. Every effort has been made to build accommodations that people may need into the way everyone accesses and completes this course. If you have additional needs, please discuss these with me and access all of the resources available to you on our campus. It's highly unlikely that we would return to a virtual format for this class. However, if we do, there will be plenty of online resources for us. This course has been conducted entirely online in the past with considerable success, so we should be able to make that transition smoothly if it's required. Now on with the regular business of class. This set of slides is our official syllabus. So here is some official syllabus boilerplate for you. Refer to it as you need. Most important today is the reminder of when our class sessions take place. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12:30 to 1:35 p.m. Here's some information about our textbook. Of course, it's available through the Loot Locker if you don't already have it from Music in Historical Context 1. There are certainly other sources for it as well, and whatever form you choose should be just fine, whether that's electronic, whether it's print, whether it's hardback or paperback. The edition we're using is the 5th edition, and you'll want that one. In this class, we will not use the extra online resources that are available from the publisher. But if you have not purchased a used copy and you have access to them, you should be able to find something that's of interest to you and may be helpful to you there. So I encourage you to explore those. For assignments, you'll be provided with scores and recording links as needed. However, the book is designed to pair with this anthology. It's a tremendous resource for musicians and music students, and has been for decades. I still have a copy of the 2nd edition from my undergraduate days, and still occasionally use it. Yes, even that edition. Please consider purchasing both volumes 2 and 3 in some form. I don't think you will ever be sorry that you did, and it will allow you to actually look at some of the things that are being described in the text if you get it this semester. But even if you don't acquire them now, plan to do so as soon as you can. Here's a little about me. That picture, by the way, is not me, but it's a link to a video on YouTube where you can hear one of my favorite musical sounds, the Bulgarian gaida. Now you know a little something about my musical tastes. I'll let you look up the years of the first and second Eisenhower administrations mentioned in the bullet there, and you should look them up because this is a history class after all. Much of the time this semester, I will be in my office at PLU for office hours. If for some reason office hours need to be conducted virtually, a Zoom link will be posted in our Sakai site. I will also post an announcement about the changed format. We will probably have at least one guest visiting us via Zoom during the semester. If so, we might make that day a virtual class entirely. In that case, you will need to look on the Zoom tab in our Sakai site for the link. We have official learning outcomes for the Department of Music. You've probably seen them in other syllabi. This class touches on 4 of the 5, including performance. Late in the semester, you will be asked to create performances for your colleagues in which you integrate some of what we will learn and/or discuss this semester. This is the end of Syllabus Video 1. Next, move on to Video 2 for details about how we'll work through the semester.